Hey, welcome to the channel which tries to make every song a bit more interesting by the end of the video. Today we're focusing on this legend, Nick Rhodes. He played keyboard for Duran Duran, so you might think his best music was with them, but I would argue his catchiest and coolest songs were actually side projects away from Duran Duran. We start with the catchy one. The year is 1982 and Nick is out having drinks in the Embassy Club in London when the waiter approaches him with his demo. Impressed by this waiter's style and his charisma and sheer brashness that he'd be bold enough to actually risk maybe losing his job and approach him by saying, "Hey, I'm in a band. Any chance you'd give me a listen or, see and check out our music?" So instead of just fobbing him off and saying, "Leave me alone and give me another drink, please," he actually writes down an address and says, "Send it by cassette tape through the post to this address." And then a week later, Nick phoned him back to say, "I'm going into EMI, I'm going to give them your demo, and I'm going to produce your debut album." How cool is that? Going from being a waiter to, wow, I could be the next big star. And he kind of was. The waiter was Limahl. His journey to superstardom is like nothing I've ever seen before. In 1981, the band was already in place. They knew their music was good, but they needed somebody who could sing and would look good. And Hamill, this is something an Irish person would never do. He actually showed up to the audition. He was like, "I can sing and I look good." They were impressed by him, so they signed him up to the band and they changed their name to Kajagoogoo. Kajagoogoo? Is that how it's said? I've only read it and never heard anyone else mention Kajagoogoo in a conversation. So if I'm wrong with that pronunciation, please correct me in the comments, and I look forward to learning. By the time he meets Nick in this bar, he is 6 months as their lead singer. So just 6 months in, he's already gotten them a record deal, and they spend the next 6 months writing their biggest hit. In early 1982, they release this. The song explodes. It goes to number 1 in the UK and hits number 5, if not higher, in the US charts. So 1 year on from going to the audition and getting in the band, Limahl has taken Kajagoogoo from obscurity to worldwide superstars. And just 6 months after that, they fire Limahl a few hours after a huge concert in front of 40,000 people in Finland. I don't know all the ins and outs, but the gist of it is that he got a bit too big for his boots and the band just didn't really like where this whole pop star image and style was taking the band on that direction. So the rest of the band, who were incredible musicians, I mean, just look and listen to the bass line. That is just like one of the coolest bass lines and looks impossible to play as well. So Too Shy, in my opinion, is just like one of the all-time catchy songs, and I didn't even know it was by that band. Again, Kajagoogoo, is that how you say their name? Look, I'm sorry, I wasn't alive in the 80s, so if I'm wrong with this stuff, I just love learning about music and find this story fascinating. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hit subscribe and like and comment below, because I just like a conversation to get going so that I can learn about stuff I don't know yet. So yeah, hopefully we can get that going, rather than people just giving out to me that I don't know everything that has ever happened in the world. And the coolest song that Nick Rhodes was a part of is also not a Duran Duran hit. Now you can argue with that, but I think that this is just such a piece of genius. In the early 2000s, Bohemian Like You launched the Dandy Warhols to superstardom, rightly so, but they also had a really cool follow-up hit a couple of years after that. This is one of my favorite songs. It was on a soundtrack for a FIFA game once upon a time, and I remember, I think we were on holidays in Italy and there was music channels doing the rounds and over again. So when it was too hot to be outside, I'm Irish, we can't take the heat. Me and my brother, we'd be watching the music channels, and this song was on high rotation, so it just sends me back to there. But we were like, what class band and song is this? This is going to be the biggest song ever. And then we never really saw or heard of it again for years after that. It just didn't do anything in Ireland. But the Dandy Warhols, We Used to Be Friends, is just, it's a class song. Check it out in full if you haven't seen it, or maybe you haven't listened to it in ages. It has stood the test of time. The video is incredibly cool as well. It does feel like the evil DJ from Zoolander could seamlessly blend into that music video as well. There's just that dark edginess to it. But Nick Rhodes actually did the final mix of this song, and he transformed the sound of it from kind of a bit rocky to more of that synth-led, almost shiny darkness to it, if that makes sense. But it's cool to know that he had his fingerprints on that song, because if it was a long time ago, in the 1980s, you could see Duran Duran releasing We Used to Be Friends. It would just really, really work. And it's kind of cool to see that connection, which, again, I didn't really know about before making this video. So hopefully you enjoyed watching it. I'll be doing more of these long form things. The shorts I enjoy doing, but then you have to kind of make them so short, under a minute, that you leave out so much nuance and a chance to kind of chat. So yeah, it feels a bit forced and unnatural. So hopefully you enjoy watching this, and hopefully you can be a part of the conversation and part of the channel. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and share with friends and family and strangers. Stop them on the street, show them, make them scan a QR code, and don't let them leave until they watch the video. All right, till the next one. Bye 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 bye.